There is a ship called the Amaranth, and it has been flying toward a star for 300 years. Or, that's what they tell the children. The truth is more complicated. The truth usually is. At the back of the ship, time moves like syrup. A childhood here lasts 50 years by the clocks up front. Grandmothers outlive great-grandsons. Wheat grows the same as it always has. You just get to watch every single second of it happening. Her name is Mira. She has never once in her life felt late for anything. That's about to change. A message arrives from a stranger 300 decks away. He says he found her by accident. He says he's been rereading her words for 11 years. 11 years to him, 3 months to her. That's the first thing you have to understand about the Amaranth. Nobody on this ship agrees on what now means. At the front of the ship, time runs fast. Days blur into weeks, blur into years. A man can watch his whole life go by from a single cha. Jonah Vance has sat in that chair for 50 years. He has buried a wife, watched a son leave for slower decks just to buy himself more time. He is 71 years old, and he has just found something to smile about again. Everyone on the Amaranth is trying to protect someone. That's the part people forget later, when they tell this story as a rescue. It didn't start as a rescue. It started as two lonely people writing to each other across 100 years of difference, neither one asking to be saved. Nene Okonjo is 94 years old. By the fast clocks at the front of the ship, that makes her almost 400. She has been keeping a secret for longer than most people on this ship have been alive. Tonight, she decides she's done keeping it. The ship stopped moving, she says. 110 years ago. We've been sitting still in the dark ever since, just moving at different speeds, so no one would ever have enough time, all at once, to notice. Up in the fast world, truth arrives quickly, and it arrives alone. Jonah Vance opens a file he was never supposed to see. A number, almost nothing. A velocity so small, it isn't really a velocity at all. He has spent 50 years thinking he was steering a ship toward a star. He was steering a ship that stopped moving before his son was born. There's a particular kind of loneliness in knowing something you can't say. Jonah has carried that loneliness for 10 years. Tonight, for the first time, he decides not to carry it alone anymore. Some secrets are too heavy for one person's clock to hold, no matter how much time that person has left. The alarm reaches every deck of the Amaranth at exactly the same moment. But the same moment means something different depending on where you're standing. In the front of the ship, it screams, sharp, immediate, over in seconds. For 100 years, the Amaranth kept its two halves apart, fast from slow, front from back, so that neither one could ever compare notes long enough to see the whole truth. It turns out the ship's greatest flaw was never the dying engine at its heart. It was the silence between its decks. They didn't fix the ship that night. Ships like the Amaranth don't get fixed in a night, or a season, or even some say in a single lifetime of either kind. But they started. Fast hands and slow hands, working the same problem, finally allowed to compare notes. It turns out the ones who'd spent 100 years simply watching things fail slowly had learned something the fast world never had time to learn at all. The wheat doesn't know it's slow. It only knows it's growing. Maybe that's true of everyone on the Amaranth, fast deck or slow, dying engineer or waiting farmer. None of them ever really knew how far they'd come. They only knew they hadn't stopped growing. This is the Amaranth. It has been flying toward a star for 300 years. Or, it's about to start. This is the Amaranth. It has been flying toward a star for 300 years. Or, it's about to start.